Today I'll be showing you my top 3 cryptos to buy in August of 2023. This is a new series I'm starting, which I got inspired from a fellow creator, Faris Q. He has a similar series where he covers 3 altcoins every month. Make sure to go check that out. Now, I'm making my series in my own style where I'll be covering cryptos that have specific updates or news events coming in the month of August. And I'll try to update one of these every month. Welcome back to the Virtual Bacon channel. My name is Dennis. I'm a crypto angel investor for the past 5 years, and I have helped over 100 crypto startups. On this channel, I share my analysis on the crypto market and investment strategies. Now, these 3 crypto altcoins are my top picks for August, but it doesn't mean I plan to hold them for a super long term. These coins are medium-term trade positions based on catalyst events, so make sure to understand this before aping in. Okay, let's get started. The first crypto on this list is Dogecoin. There is a major narrative happening right now with Elon Musk and the new Twitter rebrand to X.com. And as you guys probably know, Elon Musk has been single-handedly driving the entire Doge rally in the last bull run. So this is a piece of news that I'm closely watching, but I think there will be continued hype on Dogecoin going into August. Now, a bit of background on X.com. This is a rebrand from the entire Twitter.com app. Elon is turning Twitter into X Corp and plan to build it into this super app. It will have social media, messaging, video calls, and even a whole financial system in the app. Here's what he said on a recent interview.
A lot of great things that are going to come out. Obviously, payments down the road, maybe later this year, and improving the direct message stuff. Obviously, enabling full encryption and video and voice calls, and just basically solving if there's something you want to do, you can do it on this sort of, X everything app, or you can leave easily and do it somewhere else.
And that's the gist of it. In the months to come in 2023, Twitter will be fully turning into the X super app, which has this entire financial world built in. Now, a lot of people are still underestimating this vision. They're calling it a PayPal type service on top of Twitter. But in my opinion, it is much, much more than just adding payments on top of Twitter. In order to fully understand this vision, you have to understand Elon's approach with the X super app, which is very similar to the playbook of WeChat, the largest app in China. Here is the WeChat platform. It first started as a message and social media app, but has since evolved into an everything app with an app store, payments, banking, video calls, and everything built into one. Just some examples. You can do online shopping in the app directly. You can watch shows, browse TikTok. You can even order an Uber or food delivery right in the app. And every single one of these features is an existing app in the WeChat ecosystem. However, these apps don't need to be downloaded to your phone like on iOS or Android. They are instantly accessible from your WeChat account. And you don't even need to sign up as they directly log in with your WeChat account. When it comes to payment, WeChat also has a full banking system built in, similar to Apple Pay. You link your credit card or bank account and pay for everything with one click. Now, up to this point, everything seems digital, but what's more crazy though is that the adoption of these super apps do not stop at the online stores. They are also everywhere in the real world in China. When you go to any shop in China, you don't pay by card or cash. Instead, everything is paid through QR code payments from apps like WeChat and Alipay. The reason this works and is so widely adopted is because the system is extremely scalable, because anyone can print out a QR code or display it from their phone. Unlike a card or cash payment system where you have to have a POS machine or cash register, for this system, all you need to accept WeChat payment is your phone. And this is why China has completely shifted to a digital payment system. From the smallest purchases like vegetables to buying a car, they all go through WeChat and these QR codes. And with everyone essentially holding a ton of money in their WeChat accounts, it now also acts as a banking system with online transfers and financial products. WeChat already had $600 billion in assets under management from their financial products and lending services back in 2019. Today, it has well over $1 trillion in AUM, and its corporate competitor Alipay also has more than $1 trillion in assets under management. This right here is the real opportunity that Elon Musk is going after with the X Corp and the super financial app. It's all about the real adoption game, piggybacking off of Twitter's global user base, while simultaneously advancing both online and real-world transactions by offering a next-gen payment service that anyone can adopt very easily from their phone. Okay, so then what does this have to do with Dogecoin? Well, after changing Twitter to X, Elon Musk secretly added the the Dogecoin icon to his Twitter bio, along with the X logo, to spell out essentially XD, another joke of his. To me, this is an early hint that there is going to be more tweets and more marketing about Dogecoin coming from Elon, and potentially he will be doing more with it in the X app. Elon has always half joked about using Dogecoin as a payment system on Twitter. He has also confirmed that payment features on the X app will start to roll out in the next few months. So will this most entertaining outcome actually turn out to be the most likely, where Dogecoin gets fully integrated? To be honest, I highly doubt that this will be the case. This whole payment system serving hundreds of millions of people per day is not feasible to be built on top of Dogecoin. It will be way too expensive and slow. However, there could be an ability to buy Doge or convert your wallet balance to Doge if Elon does go through with the meme and at least add Dogecoin as one of the currencies that you can put into your X app account. Remember, Tesla already accepts Dogecoin as a payment for some of their merge items. Perhaps Elon could continue to tease about Doge and only add it as a payment option for Twitter Blue subscription, for example, or to pay for some of the minor subscription services on top of the X app. Regardless though, the speculation alone will drive the price up, even if the final integration is not that significant. Elon is probably one of the largest Dogecoin holders in the world, and the new marketing cycle for Dogecoin seems to be starting now. Looking at Dogecoin's price, it's currently trading at 7.8 cents with a market cap of $11 billion. This seems very high, but you gotta consider that Dogecoin is one of the longest running coins and practically all of the tokens are already circulating, and the fully diluted market cap is the exact same as the circulating market cap, which means there are no insiders, there are no one that controls more of the supply than other people that already have it in the market. This is honestly really good tokenomics. Dogecoin is also down 89% from its all-time high. It has been trading sideways for the past year, and the support and resistance levels are very clearly defined on the chart. You see, since April of 2022, we have respected this same support level 3 times now around the 5.6 cents level. And in terms of resistance, we have a significant one at 9.2 cents, and then another peak one that we failed to break above in the October rally last year at around 12 cents. And these are my short-term targets going into the new marketing cycle of Dogecoin as a trade. I'll be using 5 cents as a stop loss below these support levels that we have made in the past year, and my first target will be around 12 cents, which was the most significant resistance dating back to last year. Assuming Elon continues the Dogecoin marketing along with the X app feature releases, my first target is at 12 cents. Beyond that and beyond the month of August, we will see if price can actually get above 12 cents and continue making higher highs and higher lows and perhaps close above 12 cents on a weekly time frame, then we can talk about the long-term comeback of Dogecoin in a new long-term uptrend. But for now, all I'm playing is the 5 cents support level as the stop loss and then 12 cents as the short-term take profit level. Okay, moving on, the next coin on my buying list for August is Optimism OP. Optimism is one of the top Ethereum Layer 2 networks. Similar to Arbitrum and Polygon, Optimism batches transactions to a Layer 2 rollup blockchain in order to make them cheaper and faster. Now, there are 2 main catalyst events happening for Optimism starting from August. The first one is the launch of Optimism's Superchain. This is an ecosystem of interoperable Layer 2 networks connected by Optimism's technology. And it's important to know that this superchain is not like the Cosmos or Polkadot design. It is not a closed ecosystem. Rather, all of these Layer 2 networks built on top of the superchain are fully fledged Layer 2s sitting directly on top of Ethereum. So essentially, Optimism made their platform available for all developers to easily launch their own Layer 2 networks that are just like the Optimism mainnet rollup. The superchain was first proposed in early 2023, and the first chain to launch is none other than Coinbase with its Base Layer 2. This Coinbase Layer 2 network is expected to launch on mainnet in August. Following the footstep of Coinbase, many large crypto projects also started joining the superchain initiative. The most notable ones are WorldCoin's Layer 2, BNB Chain with their OP-BNB network, Celo, which is another established Layer 1 blockchain that is pivoting to an Ethereum Layer 2. Other ones like Zora, the NFT marketplace, and Manta Network, one of the leaders from the Polkadot crowd loan auctions. Notice how many of these projects first started as their own layer 1 or from some other ecosystem, but soon they all realized that layer 2s are the future and they need to build on top of Ethereum directly instead of trying to reinvent the wheel. This is the main benefit of Optimism's superchain versus its competitors. It doesn't tie the project down into its own ecosystem, but rather makes it super interoperable with everything in the Ethereum ecosystem. And these projects are not microcap altcoins. Celo, for example, is at a $500 million market cap. The list of Optimism's ecosystem is also still growing behind the scenes. I dug a bit deeper on Twitter and found some other major projects that have confirmed to be joining Optimism's superchain, but haven't officially announced yet. For example, Synthetics, the OG DeFi project, will be launching a perpetual exchange with a layer 2 using Optimism superchain. Synapse, one of the leading cross-chain bridge solutions, is also working on Synapse Chain using the OP stack. Another one is Ribbon Finance, a well-known DeFi options protocol, which is also launching a new DeFi exchange called Avo, similar to DYDX, and this also uses the OP stack. I'm sure there are many more of these projects that will be building on the OP stack in the coming months. Speaking of the stack, the superchain is still in its early phases and it's currently called the OP stack, which is only the technology layer that can serve projects and help them launch their own layer 2s. All of these networks will eventually come together to form the superchain, but this is a super long-term vision that will take a couple years to play out. Optimism also just published an update for the OP token, which ties everything together. Many people have complained that OP itself is not used in Optimism's superchain technology, but after this proposal is passed, OP token holders will start earning revenue from all of the new networks in the superchain ecosystem. Aside from the superchain hype, another major narrative coming for Optimism by the end of 2023 is the Ethereum EIP 4844 upgrade or proto-danksharding. This upgrade is especially important for layer 2s because it will lower the transaction fees by 10 to 100x for all layer 2 rollups. To accomplish this, EIP 4844 will be introducing a new type of storage to the Ethereum blockchain called a blob. This blob lives outside of the core Ethereum architecture and offers much cheaper storage fees. If you recall how layer 2 networks function, they batch a group of transactions together to process them separately and periodically stores all the results back onto the Ethereum blockchain. Although this makes transactions fast, the storage part still has to happen on the expensive Ethereum network. But with the introduction of blobs, all of the layer 2s can store their transaction hashes or ZK proofs for the ZK rollups onto the blobs storage while spending minimal gas fees. As a result, this next Ethereum upgrade is actually more bullish for layer 2s rather than Ethereum itself. Here are the expected gas fee savings after EIP 4844 is implemented. A Uniswap transaction currently costs 38 cents on Optimism. After the upgrade, it will cost lower than 4 cents. Similar savings can be seen across the board for all layer 2 solutions. Now, EIP 4844 is expected to be implemented in the second half of 2023. Although EIP 4844 benefits all layer 2 networks, Optimism OP somehow is the top coin people are mentioning in this narrative. If you search for EIP 4844 on Twitter, you'll see the OP ticker mentioned in every post. The only other coin that's usually mentioned is Arbitrum's ARB ticker. I don't really know why this is the case, but when there is a clear leader like OP in a trending narrative, all of the attention will pour into it. Retail investors will not care to understand the fundamentals of this upgrade, so I'm not going to overthink it. The top coin to buy for the EIP 4844 narrative is Optimism. Optimism is currently trading at $1.48 with $1 billion in circulating market cap and $6.3 billion in fully diluted market cap. This makes some people fear that there will be heavy token unlocking happening for Optimism in the future, so I looked a bit deeper into it. Here is the token unlocking information for Optimism. You can find this information on tokenunlocks.app. What I found is that although Optimism does have constant token unlocking happening every month, this is an equal monthly unlock that will happen over a very long period of 4 years and ending in June of 2027. For such a large project like Optimism, this is honestly good enough. Most of the other layer 1 blockchains will have a token lock, but afterwards the new tokens will be released very quickly over 1 year or so to capture the bull market. You see this on Aptos and Sui, and even Polkadot and AVAX had these in the last bull run. The good news for Optimism is that the main token unlock event already happened 2 months ago back in June. A large chunk of tokens are already unlocked, so the high amount of uncertainty already happened. Now that the event is over, there will not be any more unexpectedly large unlocks. As long as the market sees the slow and gradual release every month, I don't think there will be a price panic in the future. Looking at Optimism's recent price action, it is a relatively newer coin, and its price peaked at $3 in February of this year. In June, when the unlock happened, price dropped very sharp and went below $1, but this was quickly bought up in this wick you can see on the chart. This gives us a clean chart very similar to the Bitcoin chart after the major bull run. Looking at the support levels, price is just starting to rebound this past month, but it's already showing a new uptrend with higher highs and higher lows. So as long as this last higher low at 1.18 holds, I expect the uptrend to continue for OP. On the resistance side, $1.90 is the first key resistance formed in the last rally, while $2.50 is my other optimistic target around the all-time high. These two levels will be my take profit targets going into this next rally. Again, this is only a short-term trade based on the catalyst events happening to Optimism in the next couple of months. Once Optimism gets above $2 and goes into the $2 to $3 range, its fully diluted market cap will reach 12-13 billion again, and that will be quite high. So I think it will be fairly valued at that point. After then, I will reassess and see whether I want to hold Optimism for the long term. So make sure to keep in mind when accessing this position. The third and last altcoin on my buying list for August is Pulsechain PLS. This is a more controversial one for the people that already know this coin, but here's a quick primer. Pulsechain is an Ethereum hard fork with a twist. Other than offering energy-efficient, cheap, and fast transactions, Pulsechain also carried over something never done before in crypto and in the Ethereum world, which is to have an entire copy of the Ethereum blockchain with all of its existing tokens. This really helped with the marketing gimmick in the beginning, but now it seems like none of these tokens have any real value. So the main coins on Pulsechain right now are just Pulsechain itself, PulseX, the decentralized exchange coin, and the incentive token INC. Pulsechain is currently the number 8 largest blockchain by transaction volume, and it's the number 11th blockchain by total value locked. But perhaps the most important fact you should know about this network is that it is launched by the ecstatic crypto personality Richard Heart. Why is this so important? Well, a lot of people in crypto hate Richard because he's super flamboyant in the way he claims with his projects and his actions. But for the people that actually follow him, they absolutely love him and praise him like a god. A lot of this is because he launched the ultra successful Hex token in the last cycle. Hex went up 2000x to 10,000x from 2020 to 2021, depending on which exchange chart you look at. This is a real fact that cannot be argued. You can see this on price trackers today. This means Hex was probably the best performing asset in the last bull run. With all of these gains, Richard Heart received this cult-like community called the Hexicans, and they are just something else. Check this out. Whenever I tweet about Hex or Pulsechain, my profile gets flooded by these Hexicans showing support, and these are real people, not bots. Here's another example when I tweeted about Richard Heart's upcoming documentary, and it got 24K views in just a few hours, 896 likes within a day. This might be annoying for some people, but I see this as an absolutely bullish sign for Pulsechain. Community in crypto is everything. No matter how groundbreaking or simple your technology is, if there is no community to spread the word, it will not be successful. That's why having Richard Heart and the Hex community behind Pulsechain is definitely a win in my book. Now, here are two main reasons why I think August is a good time to get into Pulsechain. The first reason is exactly what I tweeted about here. Richard Heart is about to release a high-production documentary about Hex, Pulsechain, and his crypto empire. Let me just play you this trailer.
We are set for you, Richard.
Hate me. I'm farther than you'll ever be in your whole life.
Who does this guy think he is?
Whatever the governments have been doing, it's not worked out. You've never had worse interest rates. Your money has never been worth less. Everything is getting worse. The only thing that's making it better is cryptocurrency.
It's better than the dollar. It's better than gold. It's better money.
Crypto is money without governments, and it is money without banks.
You're not going to meet another product like this as long as you live. Yes, every scammer in the world is going to tell you something similar.
Good morning, everyone. Are you ready to look for some fraud this morning?
Okay, I'm not going to play with the whole thing, but this is an upcoming movie called The Highest of Stakes, entirely produced and around Richard Heart and Hex. And I'm not sure the exact crypto background and how much of the other cryptos you'll mention, but it will be a lot about Hex, a lot about probably Bitcoin, a lot about Pulse Chain, and himself. To be honest, this is one of the few crypto documentaries that I'm actually interested to watch, because this comes from a real crypto native, a real crypto founder that have a successful project, and from a crypto native perspective, rather from some traditional finance or some traditional media angle where it just says, you know, crypto is for money laundering, crypto is a scam, and crypto is super high risky. That's just super boring, and we've seen 100 of those. So this one, I actually wonder what it's going to talk about. Now, for sure, this is meant to trigger a lot of people, especially in crypto, but it will also attract everyone to talk about it. No doubt, this will be heavily shared on Twitter and made into memes. Richard Heart really thinks all press is good press, and from all that audience will come a ton of retail buyers, since this story is directly targeted at them. Just look at how well Hex did after all of the ads that they placed with public ads and mail. They managed to get so many everyday people into the coin. And I think the same thing could be happening with this movie premiering on August 5th. This is when I think Richard Heart will start a new wave of marketing for Pulse Chain and start popping up the volume on the exchanges. Okay, the second reason why I think August is a good time for Pulse is because of the Pulse Chain yield farms are coming to an end. A bit of background, at launch, the yields on Pulse X, the main decentralized exchange, was extremely high with over 2000% APR. This attracted a ton of speculators and farmers. But all of the rewards came from the incentive token, which had heavy inflation and was heavily dragging down the price. Today, however, the farms are much more sustainable. They are between 20% and 100% APR, which is similar to other chains. Now, I don't consider this a bad thing. At the end of the day, you don't want to give away free tokens for farmers to do absolutely nothing. That will only provide short-term hype but hurt the long-term price. As the farm percentages are much lower now, everyone that's left in the ecosystem is in it for the long term. And because these farms are not as attractive, the liquidity pools on PulseX will also be much thinner. Liquidity pools can both benefit and hurt the price momentum. Let me explain. In the early days of Pulse Chain's launch, a ton of liquidity is needed to absorb all the sell pressure from people that want to exit early at the launch, and that's why these farming percentages are so high. With more liquidity in the exchange, prices wouldn't drop too much too quickly. However, now that Pulse Chain is cheap again and it's starting to bottom out and rebound in price, it's better to have thinner liquidity pools. Just like how liquidity can absorb sell pressure, it also absorbs buy pressure. That's why when we see price rebounding now, we want the farms to be less popular and have less APR and less rewards and thus less liquidity, as this will make price have an easier time to go up. With the same amount of buying demand, price will go up more if there is less liquidity in the pool. And that's why I'm actually bullish on Pulse Chain's price once the farms start to dry up. Another major update coming soon is the Pulse Chain staking. Once the farming stops, staking is likely to launch in August. Staking is actually a huge deal in this project because the main use case and the main promise of Hex was staking. Hex offered a locked staking that gave you more tokens the longer you stake. It's a super simple pomponomics that the Hexicans all love. And that's why I think the Pulse Chain staking feature will also bring a ton of hype. It doesn't have to have super complicated mechanics, as long as everyone that was originally in Hex staked a lot and ended up actually profiting from it, they will also treat Pulse Chain staking as something that they just all flood into. Okay, now let's talk about one of the biggest concerns people have around Pulse Chain, which is its large total supply and fully diluted market cap. I want to argue that Pulse is unlike other coins, and this is not that significant. And just hear me out. Basically, 90% of the Pulse tokens are controlled by this origin address, which is likely just Richard Heart himself. In most other projects, this is a bad thing. But in Pulse Chain, I think it might actually be okay to ignore this. This is because Hex had this exact same setup. Notice on the right here how the total market cap of Hex is $12 billion right now, while the real market cap without including the origin address on the left side here is only $1.6 billion. Even though there's such a large difference, the 90% of coins controlled by Richard over the last entire bull cycle has never moved. They didn't even get sold in the peak of the bull market. You cannot say the same for any other large project. Most crypto projects have a ton of insiders selling against each other. And that's why people look at these market cap metrics so often. Obviously, Richard Heart would have sold Hex and Pulse before to make profit, but because it's a single entity and he is able to control the selling pressure and control the FUD, this design actually works better than most other projects with all the tokens that are fully trackable. At the end of the day, since Hex price went up thousands of X's, no matter how much Hex he controlled or sold, it's still a success. And that's why I'm not really worried about Pulse Chain's large market cap. These are the numbers we're looking at. The total market cap with including the origin address is $13 billion, while the real market cap without including the origin address is only around $1.5 billion. This is actually what's circulating and what's controlled by other participants that have participated in the ICO and could potentially sell. Ultimately, as long as the marketing works, price can go up a lot in the bull market just like Hex. This is the expectation that people have for this project. Lastly, let's look at some of the price stats of Pulse Chain. Pulse Chain was first launched through a sacrifice event back in 2021, which is essentially a public ICO that was marketed as a donation event. The price of Pulse during the sacrifice was between 0.00007 and 0.001. A lot of people will say it's 0.01 cent, but there were other bonuses during the sacrifice. I actually participated in this as well, and the cheapest rate I've seen is around 0.007 cents. Knowing this, let's look at the current price chart. After the launch hype, Pulse has dropped to around 0.0008, which is just as cheap as the ICO price at 0.007 cents. This gives me a lot of confidence to be buying in this support range marked out on the chart here. A lot of people will want to buy around these levels because it's the same price as the ICO. Also, considering the huge ego of Richard Heart, he will try to protect the price here. Imagine people complaining about his coin dropping below ICO price. He will not like that. Zooming out to the daily chart, the levels are also quite clear. I'm watching this 0.0008 support range, which is the long-term key support. This also makes sense to respect in order to keep the long-term uptrend intact as we are making higher highs and higher lows. So as long as this next bounce stays above 0.0086, the uptrend will continue and I will expect price to move up to test these higher resistances. My two price targets are at 0.00016 and 0.00026. These are the two previous resistances made during the launch hype and the first bounce in this uptrend. Okay, last bit of cautionary note. With all that being said about Pulse Chain having a strong community and good catalyst for marketing, please be careful with some of the other content out there you see about this coin. The Hexagon community can get kind of unrealistic sometimes. They will say Pulse Chain can go up 100x to 1000x. But looking at some of the actual metrics, even if we consider the real market cap only right around $1.5 billion right now, 100x would still be $150 billion in circulating market cap. That's around a top 5 coin valuation at the absolute top of the bull market. I think those numbers will be quite hard to reach. So I'm playing these levels one step at a time and just targeting for it to reach maybe the launch hype highs, and that will be around the 3x return from here. This makes sense considering all the catalyst events that are happening in the next couple months. But when it comes to the long term, we really have to see afterwards. Okay, that wraps up today's video for my top 3 coins that I'm aiming to buy in the month of August. If you like this content, make sure to leave a comment and like below so I know to make another one for the months to come. Also, follow me on Twitter on virtualbacon0x. This is where I drop the unfiltered alpha that are too quick for these in-depth videos. As I'm doing these research, I'll just be dropping notes all day on Twitter. So definitely you should follow me there. And check out our free newsletter on virtualbacon.com with over 13,000 friendly readers now. Every week we publish a market update with all the main events happening for the week. That's it for this video, and I'll see you in the next one.